Hello, everyone. Chris here with Leeloo. Thank you so much for hanging out. I see we have people jumping in and they're starting to come in. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to get started. I see Alberto's here. Hey, Alberto, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Um, all right. So pretty excited today. We have a special guest with us. I'll be bringing him in just a few minutes here. So he is on hold while we get everything kind of settled in and going here. So I do want to guide you and direct you to a video that we premiered yesterday. I'm extremely excited about it, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, you're going to want to watch it. And let me tell you why. Not only are you going to enrich yourself as a trader and benefit from the video and what's going on and what they're talking about in the video, and I'm willing to bet that you're going to be able to relate to this trader, which we'll be talking to him soon, one way or another, and I think many people so far that have watched the video has informed me that they see themselves in him and they have similar situations or struggles that I've gone through. And so it's always, I think, helpful to see that you're not the only one that has gone through or is going through some challenging or difficult parts, whether it's trading or just in life in general. So I want to encourage you that if you're here watching this and listening to my voice right now, to take a second to go and watch this video. I'm actually posting it here on the chat, and it's about a 5-minute video. So I encourage you to save it, click on the link, put it on the side, and be ready to watch that. So it looks like we got a good, clear sound check from TX. TX, thanks so much. And hello, Alberto. He says good morning from Asia, Thailand. So thank you for hanging out. Matt says hi, Matt. How you doing? Monica says hello. Hi, Chris. So good to see you guys. Awesome. Thanks for hanging out. So, all right. I see our numbers are growing and growing strong. And just like always, guys, here is the risk disclosure. And like always, here's what we say. This is all for educational purposes only. Please be sure that when you trade using a budget. Be sure you stick to that budget. And just remember, trading is difficult, it's challenging. And we're going to learn a little more about that today. So, with our special guest. So, Carlos Calle says hello, todos. Hi, everyone. So, hello, Carlos. Thanks for hanging out. And guys, definitely hang out because we're going to do some fun promos just for you guys. Okay. So, those here watching today, you're going to get some special promos coming your way. So, be sure you stay and hang out with us for sure. So, I'm going to take a quick poll here, a quick poll to see who's watched the video so far. So if you watched this video, the one we released premiere last night with the NQ King, let me know by voting on the poll. So let me write it in. All right. So if you haven't, I highly encourage you to go watch it. Like I mentioned, it's going to be a great video. It's 5 minutes long. It flies by. I was hoping it was a lot longer. So I think many of you are going to benefit from it. So love to hear your feedback. It looks like we have a few that haven't watched it yet. So I definitely want to encourage you guys that if you haven't watched it, go watch it soon right after this here. So, but guys, let's not wait any longer. Guys, I am very happy to introduce to you the NQ King, Chris, who is the first trader spotlight video that we're doing. We're going to be doing this actually for several months here. So stay tuned for this next several months as we introduce and spotlight a different trader each month, highlighting their journey, what we're calling real traders, real journeys, real Leeloo. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the NQ King, Chris. Chris, how you doing?
Hey Chris, good evening. I'm doing well. Well, actually, good evening from Virginia, which is where I'm at for this week. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Very exciting. Yeah, I was able to catch up with you a little bit. I know you're living down in the Brazil, and now you're traveling to Virginia. So how was your travels?
It was good. It was long. I try to keep them short. I get super uncomfortable on planes. I think all of us do. Is just sitting in a single position for hours on end if you travel overseas. This journey was a little bit rough. Just every flight seemed to get delayed and ended up being like a 30-hour trip. So it was miserable, but I'm really glad to finally be back on the ground and reunited with some family.
Awesome. All right. Well, great, great. Well, we're excited that you're able to jump in. I know that you're hanging out with family, and we are limited on time. And on top of that, I'm a little under the weather, and so we'll keep today's YouTube show shorter. But uh, but yeah. So for those who have watched the video, if you have any questions you want to ask, this is a great time to ask, and I'll read those questions to you, Chris. I know you're not in front of your computer, so thank you for jumping in on your phone and working remotely, like I was mentioned.
Yeah, of course.
So, Chris, and so for those who did watch the video, haven't watched the video yet, can you give us a little, just a little recap, kind of what your journey looked like, just and I say little, like a few minutes maybe. So don't feel rushed, but just a little recap of how you got started, what speed bumps you ran into, how you came out of that. If you can share that with us.
Yeah, no, no, I can't quite remember exactly how long ago that it was that I did the video, but just recapping, well, I guess cliff noting my journey. I got introduced to investing or trading by a family member of mine, actually. And it was during a time where I didn't have a whole lot of money. I actually had like almost no money, just because I was working on a low salary job at the time. And they were making boatloads of money off of long-term investments at the time was like Amazon or Google, Facebook. They ended up getting into Tesla many years back. And of course, they did well with all of those investments looking forward at least 10 or so years. So finally, when I started making some form of an income, probably about 7 or 8 years ago, I started to get myself introduced into investing, and that just looked like your traditional long-term investments, just stocks. I had not even got into options at that point, and then COVID hit. Excuse me, and then COVID hit, and I got turned on to options trading. I think a lot of us got really interested into options trading just because of all the hype that we saw around social media. Yeah, these young folks making boatloads of money overnight, basically just trading options. And it seemed like everybody was making money left and right. And at that point, I was looking for a different path for my career, or something where I could basically make my own salary, make up my own hours. So I started dabbling in options trading, and after watching a couple of YouTube videos, and I think seeing the success of a few TikTok kids making a ton of money or seemingly making a ton of money, I started trying my hand in it, and I ended up doing fairly well. But then I had a short streak for basically a month. It was in the end of in August, early September. I can't quite remember the exact date, but it was one of those. It was a period of time where there basically the market was not a good market to be investing in, especially in terms of options trading. And then I was losing about $100,000 over the course of a week or so, and it basically, here's how it kind of went down. On a Monday, I lost probably about 15, 20,000. And that Tuesday, I decided to get back up on the horse and try my hand again. I lost another 15, 20,000. Then Wednesday, I did the same thing. And all the way up to Friday, I ended up losing cumulative 100 grand over the course of a week. And at that point, I stopped. I didn't lose my life savings, thank God. But I definitely felt the hurt, and that was my first introduction into revenge trading, which is something that I ended up struggling with for. I mean, even today, it's not something I've completely overcome. I definitely feel my emotions at times when I'm in trades, and that's why depending on the time of day, the month, the week of the month, the day of the week, I do have I guess different types of models that I trade based off of the time of day and things like that. So it's still a work in progress, but fast forward a little bit further, I eventually decided to take a break from trading, and then I had a friend introduce me to futures. Um, and at the time, futures was definitely an intimidating. It was an intimidating idea just because I couldn't find a lot of easy to digest information out there, and I didn't really have a mentor when I first started. So when I got into futures trading, I ended up starting out with Leeloo because I couldn't afford to lose the amount of capital that I was losing before. But what I did really like about futures trading compared to options trading, at least for me, the way I was trading options, I was doing, 1 day or 1 or 2 week swings, and that just did not work well for my mindset. I did not like going into weekends stressed out, worrying about what Monday was going to look like, what Sunday night was going to bring to the market for the rest of the week. So futures, excuse me, for me, I like that I'm able to get. I like the idea that I was able to get in and out, and I did not have to sweat it overnight. Um, but I wasn't very lucky with futures trading either. When I first started out, I think I had the mindset where I was like, "Wow, this is a great way to get rich." You get into a trade, and you're up 5, 10 points on ES or NQ, and on a single contract, you're like, oh, this is a few $100. But had I just gone in with an extra 10 contracts, I could have made 10 times that much. So that was the mindset that I had. I think I looked at it like it was a way to get rich quick. And of course, I ended up blowing account after account, and I did not find a ton of success. And at that point, I ultimately ended up having a conversation with you directly, Chris, and you had suggested to me to basically take a break from the market, to not overextend myself, and that it's okay to take time off and not rush into things to save my bank account and make sure that I re-enter when I'm ready after I've gone through a period of education, after I found more um, consistent success rather than I guess the lottery plays that I was going for. It almost felt like I was pulling a lever on a slot machine every time I was getting to a trade. So I took some time off over the course of the year. Excuse me. I'm also coming off of kind of like a weird cold. I traveled a couple months ago,
Yeah.
and I've just had this cough ever since. So
Oh
I'm like
man.
trying over it. I don't know what it is. It's like I don't
Yeah.
have any other symptom. It's just this random
Just a
annoying
cough.
cough.
No
Yeah.
fever, nothing else like that.
Yeah, no, 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 nothing else. It's just like
Uh,
just this cough I've had,
yeah.
kind of like
Well.
it's in the back of my throat. It's super weird. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but I did travel to Paris,
Okay.
and I don't know. Maybe it's I have no idea what it is, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess I'm still alive, so there's always
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well. And so I think this is a good spot to kind of pause for a second. I do have a question here for Matt. But I do want to mention, one of the things that you brought up was that you and I spoke. And if you're a trader at Leeloo, so if you're watching this, if you're one of the many that are watching right now, as the CEO, I get the privilege to talk to many of you guys. And if you're interested in chatting with me, all you got to do is email support@leelutrading.com. Just put attention to Chris. Let me know. Hey, I want to talk. At least give me an idea what you want to talk about, and I'll try to put you on my schedule there to connect. Now, if you need something for your like urgent or something with your account, support is the best people to deal with that because that's what they're doing and that's what they're standing by for. But if you just want to talk or maybe see what's going on or just help say hello, don't be afraid to reach out. But that's kind of what you did, right, Chris? You kind of reached out. We got on the phone, and I remember this actually based on some stuff that you said. It was kind of funny, um, but I remember talking to you, and the reason I said, "Hey, why don't you take a break for a year?" was because you kept telling me that you were doing the same mistakes over and over again, and you really weren't, like you just mentioned, learning. You were more trying to hit home runs and just trying to find that lucky shot, and you didn't have a clear strategy, right?
Right. No, for
Yeah,
sure. I had no concrete strategy that I was following. I was like I was really just gambling. I was treating the markets like a casino, which is not what it is.
yeah,
And if you are started in this, definitely take your time. Don't rush into it, and don't follow the folks on social media leading everyone to believe that it's super easy to make $1 million in a month.
right,
Because it's not.
right. Yeah, and so based on that conversation, I said, "Hey, why don't even though Lead is a great avenue for you to learn and grow, but with no formula, with no no way to, no strategy at all. I said, hey, take about a year off. Don't be afraid to take time off. And you actually did, because I tell a lot of people that, and I don't always say year, but um, it's more like a metaphor, like a long time. Like take some time off. And I tell that to so many people, and people don't listen, and that's okay. They're welcome to not listening. But you did, and I was like, oh wow, this guy actually listened. In about a year, almost to the date, I know for sure the month, but almost to the date, you came back, and you said hello, like, hey, I'm back or something, and I remembered you, and you joined the so you got a couple accounts or one account or something, and then but you also joined the training competition, and I think that's where you got your nickname from, was that you joined our first ever NQ competition, so a contest that we have. Is that correct?
I did. I did, and that competition was interesting because that was kind of getting my feet wet again,
Hmm.
so to speak, in terms of investing or
Yeah.
futures trading, right? And I think for me, the benefit beyond, um, I guess, ultimately winning was how I felt after. It was kind of like a reaffirmation that, hey, you know what, I did take this break for quite a while. I did focus on study, but it was not at a loss. I was able to come in, and I was able to prove to myself that the focus, time, and attention that I put into hard study did eventually pay off. And I think that was what I had in my sights the entire time, was if I'm just patient enough and I keep myself focused and dedicated, eventually good things will come, good things will happen. So I think that's what that competition meant the most to me, for, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and different traders use that as in different ways. Obviously, it'd be great to win and finish on the top and get some sort of prize, but also the confident builder. And the other one is, hey, maybe you have different strategies you want to test out, and for a very affordable price, you can do that and have a little fun with it. So that's really cool how you use that and how that was able to work, but now, and you gave me the okay to share this. So obviously, that's the only reason I'm sharing this. But now you don't have too many accounts. You keep it simple. You got 3 or 4 performance accounts, and among those are some weeklies. And you've been getting some weekly payouts. If you want to share a little more about that, you don't have to go into numbers or anything, but just that experience and those thoughts, and then we
Yeah.
can get back to finishing your journey.
Yeah, so I guess my thoughts and opinions around that, why I end up going with weekly. Ultimately, from some of these competitions, some of the prizes was getting accounts, some PA accounts. Well, actually, I think the weekly that I am getting paid out on is one that I qualified in PA myself. But my goal, my whole idea around this was I don't need to get rich. Maybe one day it'll happen. Hopefully, I don't know, but it's not my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is I wanted to have enough accounts to be able to get them to a point where I can pay myself. I can pay my salary just from day trading futures. And fortunately, I was able to get one of my weeklies to a point where I am getting weekly payouts. And it was and is not an easy task, because certainly there are days or weeks where I do better than others. Um, so there are some weeks where I don't trade at all. I'll do the bare minimum just because either the markets aren't um, don't look good to me personally, or maybe it's a mindset thing. Maybe my mind's not there and I'm kind of focused on other things. Um, so I think at this point with Leeloo, I want to say I have a total of 5 accounts. Well, I'm only getting payouts on one of those. So definitely, don't think that it's something that is an easy task to accomplish, or something that's easy to do. But I'm definitely grateful that I was able to get this account to where it's at right now.
Yeah, yeah, great. And let me do ask you what something Matt asked here. He says, Chris, what resources did you or do you use to help you rein in the revenge trading? So what tools, what are your methods, and what do you do to help you from revenge trade, which I'm sure you, just like many of us, have deal with even still now, probably.
So I think it's important to recognize when you're at risk for revenge trading. As I mentioned earlier, I still fall victim to revenge trading even today. I had a period a handful of weeks ago where I ended up qualifying. Um, I I would say it's part luck for sure, but I was fortunate enough to qualify 10 accounts with another firm, and the day one I had 10 new PA accounts that I unloaded, a considerable amount of money from my bank account for paying those fees or activation fees, and day one I ended up blowing 7 of the 10. And it's just kind of like, and that was me falling victim to revenge trading. I think it was kind of like part of it was almost shame. How could I trade so well for over the course of a week, and then the first day where I'm able to go live, I'm just taking loss after loss after loss, and they end up building up on one over another, and I end up just shooting myself in the foot. So I think you just have to continue to create rules for yourself, and a rule that I'm trying to follow right now, and I think this is the benefit of having more than one account. And as I mentioned before, I'm super lucky to have this one account where I'm getting paid out on, or taking payments on, or receiving payments on, excuse me. Um, but I'm also able to balance my trades. So, let's take Leeloo for example. I have 5 PA accounts. I think I'm accustomed to copy, or well, I can't copy. Excuse me. I'm often accustomed to copy trading accounts, but rather than copy trading accounts, what I instead focus on now is I will take a trade per account. And if I go in on account one and I take an L, I'll pause that account for the day and I say, okay, I'm done. Then I'll move on to account two. And I'll basically hit the reset button, because the next trade that I'm taking has nothing to do with the previous trade that I just took and lost or won. So that's something to continue to keep your eyesights on, or your focus set on. Whatever trade you're in now has nothing to do with previous trades that you've taken, that you've won or lost. Every trade that you're taking should be unique new to you and you're following your rules, you're following your strategy, whatever that looks like, and just keep that focus, and you won't fall victim to revenge trading. Because how can you revenge trade on an account that you haven't yet traded on the day? So if you do take an L on another account, just take a pause and move on to the next one, or wait until the next day, because you're certainly not obligated to take a trade. You're not obligated to put yourself in a position where you can lose money, because not being in a trade is a position as well. Not trading is a position, and it's always profitable because you're not in a position to lose.
Yeah, great, great feedback there, and good info. Excuse me. And for
Oh,
those who
you're
are,
catching it.
yeah, I know, right? And those, for those of you who are maybe just joining us, here today with us is Chris, the NQ King. He is our trader for September that we're doing a spotlight on. We're doing this with several traders throughout the next several months. So I hope you enjoy those videos that we will be showing off here. And let me also recap here the current sale, this trader spotlight sale that we currently have going on right now. It's 85% off the 50K LL account. And for any account that you buy right now, for the next couple of days, so it's going to be limited time only, you can qualify with just one trading day. Like, as soon as you meet your profit target, you qualify. So typically that's an edge enhancer. You don't have to pay that for this promotion to kind of say thank you for watching the spotlight trader video, in this case for Chris. And if you want to add an edge enhancer to this promo here, you can see on the screen for the 50K LL Foundation account, you can add one for $9.99, and this one specifically will allow you to request a payout after 15 trading days. So this sale is for the first month only, and again, there's no minimum requirements to qualify. So you can get with because there's no minimum days to qualify. And if you buy that edge enhancer to get payouts up to 15 trading days, you can get a payout towards the end of this month or early next month, once you get your trading days in and you meet the targets needed. So it's a great deal. So be sure you take advantage of that. And because you guys are here hanging out with us right now, and to say thank you, we're gonna do an additional promo, and that's why we did a quick survey here, Chris. I know you can't see it, but I asked, hey, which account do you want to have a special promo, the LB, LE, or LL? And the LB won by 80%. So now my next question is going to be, what account size within the LB do you want on promo? So please be sure you vote here on the poll. And Chris, I'll let you continue your journey real quick.
Yeah, where did I leave off? If you recall.
Yeah, yeah. It was right after I kind of interrupted you when you were talking about, you and I had that call, that conversation. You took off that year, you came back stronger and better than ever.
Yeah, yeah. So I ended up participating in the competition. I was able to prove to myself through that competition that I know more than I did the previous year. So that was reaffirming, reassuring, and that helped me build up courage to throw more of myself at this venture. Um, I've been participating nearly full time in day trading futures for the pretty much this entire year at this point, and I can say that I absolutely don't know everything, and I'm still, as much as I like to help, and I enjoy providing advice. I'm also still very much a student myself. So I'm still learning every day. I'm still discovering things about myself as each day passes. And I know I was asked, what kinds of resources and materials I use to wrangle in the revenge trader side of me. And reflecting back, I don't think I actually directly answered that question, but I haven't really used any resources And I think part of that it's a personality thing. I do have attention issues at times, so reading is I get bored easily, so to speak. Um, and I haven't done enough research on online to see what types of strategies I can use to keep my psyche and in control. Everything for me up until this point has been trial and error. So when I do find myself in those situations where I'm revenge trading or I'm falling victim to my own thoughts and impulses, yeah, I basically just have to take a break. And during those breaks, I am super hard on myself, just reflecting on, why did I get into this trade? What was my reasoning? Why did I have to get into the trade a second time? Like when there was no trade there, it was me basically just flipping a coin and hoping that the market goes in the direction that I'm hoping. And that never works. I found that whenever I go in and I hit market buy or sell, I almost always come out with an L. Almost always. And if I do get a win, it's a very small win, but the losses are usually pretty considerable. So that's another thing I've learned about myself. When I do make impulsive decisions, I end up losing. So for me, I always try to get in on trades with limit orders. Um, so for me, it's as long as I follow rules, as long as I follow the strategy, the model, good things happen. And when I stray away thinking that I know more than the market, I almost always walk away empty-handed.
Yeah, yeah, great. Thank you for sharing with that here. Um, and just so you guys know, we got the votes. Majority of the votes won on the 50K LB bundle. I'm gonna do 5 accounts within the bundle. So my next question is, and we're about to be done, Chris. Just so you know. So guys, if you have any questions for Chris, for the NQ King, or for me, or anything about Leeloo, we'll be happy to answer that now. So my next question is going to be here on the poll, and this will be the final question: is which edge enhancer would you like to have? So the 15 for this promo here for the 50K LB. Do you want the 15 days PA request payout? And because right now we're having no, you don't need any trading days to qualify, just no minimum trading days. I'm not gonna count that. You can get a reduced PA fee. That could be an option, and then or an extra amount here, a payout. So if you get this one, you can get an extra dollar amount. Um, Request. So I'm going to do those three here. So your options with the edge enhancers you could do is allow PA payout requests every 15 trading days, get a reduced cost lifetime PA from 250 to 119, or allow an extra $1,000 on a payout request from the max there. So that's what we'll do here. So let me just get okay. Let me get that going here, Chris, and well, there's the poll. Boom. Okay. So Matt says, Chris. Matt says, "Wow, thanks, Chris. The market buy slash sell is a spot in problem for me. So, Chris, what made you realize that that was an issue for you? How did you get to that point?
I, that's a good question. I feel like I've just spent so much time on getting in positions out of impulse rather than sound strategy or following, the specific model that I don't know. I just always look back on those losses and the losses where you're following your strategy and you're doing all the right things. I don't know about everybody else in the audience, but certainly for me, when I'm following the rules and I'm following the model to a T and I take an L, I don't feel half as bad as I do when I get in on positions out of impulse. Um, and I think when I do a revenge trade, it's probably because I'm hitting market buy or sell, or I'm placing a market order. So I think that's where I found that was a big disadvantage for me.
Yeah, got it.
It's kind of trial and error, and reflecting on your mistakes. So when you do make mistakes as well, um, I don't know if anybody else in the audience journals. I would say I'm a mediocre journaler. I journal when I take a significant loss and I don't understand why I lost a trade. I will journal that,
That's really
and
good.
I'll reflect. I'll reflect back on that. I'll study that, and when I do take a trade and it goes really well, I will also journal that and I will also study that. Journaling is a way to basically reflect on your emotions and your decision making skills on why it is you ended up taking the trade in the first place.
Mhm.
So if you look at and analyze how you lost a trade, when you get into your next trade on the next day, the next week, whenever you're
Mhm.
participating in the market, you'll understand yourself better, because everybody trades differently and nobody is going to take the exact same trade. I don't think, at least.
Mhm. Yeah. I do you. So that's a great feedback and great point. So let me say a couple things, guys. So first, thanks, Chris, for sharing. But guys, listen, we are gonna run the 50K LB bundle at 90% off. Okay. Let me write that down here for you guys. Right now, with the code thanks and Q. Okay, thanks and Q. It's there. Plus, no minimum days to qualify, and um, you can add an edge enhancer for only uh, $9.99 to get a reduced cost lifetime PA fee. 85%. No, I'm gonna do 90%. TX, I'm working on that. Good question. I'm working on that. Hopefully, we'll get that to you guys. If you got questions, please don't hesitate to email support. They'll be more than happy to let you know that. So good question, TX. So Chris, do you want to know? And I really thought it was really silly when I did this. And I talked to my mentor, and I told him what I was embarrassed to almost tell him what I was doing, and he loved the idea. That made me obviously feel really good about it. Um, but do you want to know what I did? One of the things I did for when I was trading and to help me not overtrade and revenge trade or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay, are you sure? I don't know. If, I mean, you may not be interested.
I'm interested.
I mean, the energy I'm not getting from the vibe from the. No, I'm just kidding. So
Tell me.
we're both like slowly dying, and you're like, yeah, man, I need to hear more. So I went, and it's silly, but it was really helpful. Sometimes it's hard or difficult or challenging, okay, to appreciate money, to appreciate a dollar, the worth of the dollar, right? Oh, by the way, this sale is only available right now until the show is over. Once the show is over, it's no more. So be sure you buy this right now, guys. The 50K LB bundle right now using the code Thanks Chris. It's only available from doing the remainder of this show. So be sure you go. You're gonna get 5 accounts with the bundle. So Chris, I went to the bank and I took out, I think it was like $2,000 to $3,000 in cash. I think in 20s, and I had a stack um in my desk, on my desk right there, you know. And what I did, the code is, let me put up the code here. Thanks and Q. So what I did is when I was in a trade, or after a trade, sorry, after I got done with a trade, let's say I'm just gonna make up a number here. Let's say I made $250. I would take money from that pile, right, that I had in there, and put it in my wallet. And now I had $250 in my wallet. And I was like, here's real $250. Mentally, what that did for me was that I made that trade feel real. I made that feel, regardless whether I was in a practice account or a performance account, it just made it seem real. So it wasn't just like, oh, it's just a number. Oh, it's just, whatever, right? Because sometimes we lose the value of money. So, and because of that, Jesus Esquera says 11 p.m. please. Yeah, it's available while this video is going on, but tell you what, I'll make it available for the remaining of today. So you got two more hours, two and a half more hours, about 2 hours actually, 2 hours and 10 minutes. So yeah. So what that did for me was that when I made money, right, when I was positive in a trade, I appreciated that dollar amount, right? So I didn't take it for granted. It wasn't like, it's not real. And so that helped me to be satisfied with that. Now, what the opposite it did, on the other end, what it also did was when I lost, let's say $300, it made it more real. So I was like, ooh, okay, I still got, whatever, $3,000. I took 300 out of the 3,000 in my pocket here. You know, I'm gonna stop today. I don't want to lose more. And so I would stop trading, right? And so I talked to my mentor and said, "Hey, man, I'm doing this, and it may be a little silly, and you're gonna laugh probably, or you may tell me it's the worst idea, but here's what I'm doing." And he's like, "Chris, that's great. He's like, I love it. Great job." Because he's like, many of us, like you mentioned earlier, we're just trying to make that $1 million in one day, But just like running a marathon, you got to start with one step, And I'm using just a dollar amount because for me, a dollar just makes more sense than a percentage or ticks or whatever points. But whatever you use, sometimes making it seem real helps, and it's just like practice, right? So if you're an athlete, uh, and Chris, I know I think you mentioned you did some stuff, and I was an athlete. But if you've been in any kind of team sports, you show up to practice with the mindset of how you're going to play. If you show up to practice with a different mindset, let me tell you something. It's going to be very difficult. You're not going to perform at that same level. You're not going to suddenly become this great person in the game. So anyway, so that's kind of what I did. So I don't know if that's funny or not, and I don't know if you ever done anything similar to that, Chris, that you want to share or anything like that. And by the way, Adam, let me answer Adam real quick here. Adam says, Chris, how many accounts are there in the bundle? There's 5 accounts in the bundle. 5. Okay, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the closest that I think that's actually excuse me, a great idea, because there you have something a little more tangible right in front of you, that you can use as a point of reference or a tool to kind of keep yourself together. As you're telling that story, the only thing I could think to myself was remembering back to that time where I lost a boatload of money, basically playing the options casino. And after that experience, I was basically just beating myself up over. I was like, I could have just taken that money. I could have went out and I could have bought a used G wagon, and I could have set that G wagon on fire, and that would have been a much more enjoyable experience than losing the money the way that I did. But no, I haven't done anything like that. But I might give that a shot and try it out.
Yeah.
And see how that goes for me. It won't hurt.
Right. Well, it's something I did early on. I don't do it anymore. It's kind of like It's like if if you play golf, and you set up like a bag where you don't want to you're working on your swing, so you don't want to extend your arms too far out. So you put like a bag there so you don't hit it, or you put something on your armpit so you don't open your arms too much. Something kind of like that's what I used it for.
Mhm.
And so same mentality. I don't use it anymore because I was able to grow from it. So if you're newer, maybe you're just getting started, something to struggle with that. Um, something you can, try to do. But I love what you just mentioned though. It You said it's more enjoyable, but I would take this. You learn more from your loss of that situation than had you bought a G Wagon and you would have enjoyed burning it, laughing, but you would have not learned anything from it.
And crying.
So you can take your losses, whether even in sim, very important. If you take sim seriously, if you take those practice counts very serious, and you treat them the way you're going to treat your performance account, you'll be surprised how much you're going to be able to learn. So, but
Absolutely.
anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, all right, guys. Let's see. Any other questions? I'm gonna ask one round of questions here. See if there's any other questions, and I'm gonna let you go, Chris. I know we stayed more than I thought we were gonna stay here, so I apologize. But I think we're getting healthier as we're talking. We're getting stronger here. So, our A game is on. So, but I know, all jokes aside, I thank you for coming on. I know that you're extremely busy, but I know you have a passion for traders. I really appreciate that organic, genuine passion for traders. Because every time I've asked you to do something, you owe me nothing, you owe Leeloo nothing, and yet you'd say, "Hey, yeah, I'll be happy to for the sake of helping." Even if you can help another person, just one person, you're all in for that. So thank you for your time. I know the interview you did with to record the video was time consuming and wasn't a quick 10 minute sit down. It was several hours and going back and forth and editing. That team did a great job. In fact, we're actually going to have the person that produced that and that interviewed you on, I think it's next week or the week after. So be sure you guys stay tuned for that. I'm excited. And if you haven't watched Chris's video, the spotlight on Chris, I highly suggest you do. I think you're, like I said, I benefit from watching it, and I'm sure you will too. And you can do that here at this link around I'm posting here. If you guys have any other questions for Chris, please ask now. So, and then we'll be ending this. The current promo, I see you guys are blowing it out of the water here. Let me see how many we got left. I only put, oh wow, I got to move it up. I only put 100 to be sold. I'm gonna step it up a notch here for you guys. Okay, and you can get up to 10 with those guys. I'm gonna let you guys have that for the next couple hours until the end of today here in the United States. So that way, if you're out on the road, you may still be at work. We want to be sure you definitely take advantage of that while you're here. So, 40 people watching plus. So thank you so much for everyone watching. And please go watch that YouTube video. It's only 5 minutes and 11 seconds. Worth every second of it. I watched it several times. So Chris, while we wait for any possible questions, anything you want to finish up with?
No, definitely check out that the upcoming interview with Hillary. I just want to comment from my experience in speaking with her. It was really interesting, and the fact they were able to cut down that was like an over an hour long conversation. They consolidated down to 5 minutes, but she is an incredibly interesting person to have spoken with directly, and the types of questions that she was asking in the back end were very well thought out and thought provoking as well. So I'm interested to be in attendance on that next one as well. In
Yeah, yeah.
between trading my soybean futures, I'm joking. I don't trade soybean.
Yeah. Well, awesome. All right. Well, it looks like there's no questions, so I think we covered quite a bit. And so, thank you again, Chris. I'm going to let you go. And guys, on behalf of myself and everyone here at Leeloo, thank you so much for joining us. Please be sure you take advantage of this current promo that I'm running just for you guys. 90% off the LB bundle 50K. You can use the code thanks Chris. Sorry, thanks NQ. Thanks NQ. I posted here in the chat. I'll post it again. And you get 5 accounts within the bundle, as well as you can buy an edge enhancer to get a reduced PA fee, and no minimum days to qualify required. Um, did I do? Yeah, reduced PA fee. No, the LB bundle promo does not have the 15 days to pay out. No, you guys voted on the reduced PA lifetime fee, so that's the promo for that. So, all right, guys, thank you so much, Chris. Again, thank you so much, bud. I hope you have a great day, safe travels, and stay healthy.
Likewise, and thanks everyone again for tuning in. Thanks, Chris, for having me here as well.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone.